Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a powerful team in the Holiday Cup. This team features Altaria, Greedent Safe Switch, and XL LITLEO as our closer. I really like LITLEO in the Holiday Cup meta. Fire Normal is a fairly unique typing, and I feel like it covers the current meta quite well. I was able to take this team on a 10-2 run up to 2631 ELO, which should be high enough to place me on the global leaderboards when they next update. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and let's take a look at XL LITLEO in action in the Holiday Cup. Hopping into the first match and picking up a pretty neutral lead, Altaria into XL Lickitung. I am going to stay in here for a bit. The Licks don't do a ton of damage and we'll be able to land this Moonblast, which will be doing some big chip damage. I do want to soak a little bit of energy onto the Altaria, so we will let the Body Slam go through, and then we are going to save switch into Greedent. We are running this as a pretty standard ABB style team, where we have the two normal types in the back that are weak to counter, and Altaria, of course, then resist counter. But the opponent counter swaps into a Pidgeot, which is not your typical response to a normal type, so based on that, I'm expecting that LITLEO should have a ton of play in the endgame. We're going for a Body Slam here. The Pidgeot gets greedy and overfarms, and we're able to reach another Body Slam. This will be getting them very, very low, and now they're going for a move. They have no reason to not Brave Bird here, but you know what? I'm going to save shields for LITLEO. We bring in LITLEO, and we'll have to see what they have in back here. And they bring back in the Lickitung. This is a good sign. This probably means they are quite weak to LITLEO in the back. I am going to shield the first move. They get to a second. I am going to let this go, and then we'll probably see what they have in the back, and it's Frostlass. And the Frostlass matchup is one of the reasons why I really love running LITLEO. LITLEO absolutely walls Frostlass. We're able to ramp up these Fire Fangs. They're doing huge damage onto the Frostlass. We don't even have to shield this. Avalanche, we survive it. LITLEO farms down, the Lickitung comes back in, opponent sees the writing on the wall, and concedes the match. Hopping into the next match, and we're picking up a pretty rough lead, Altaria into Dedenne. We are going to save switch into Greedent, and we're met by Vigoroth. So far, things are looking pretty rough for us. We are countered on the lead and the swap, but I have to trust that the team is working as intended, and that by baiting out their counter user, this should free up LITLEO to have a lot of play in the end game. Unfortunately, Greedent is not able to flip this matchup. Vigoroth will be able to reach another Body Slam before we are able to, and that is going to be taking us out. Not really a point in shielding here, but I will be able to get some nice farm on my Altaria. We bring back in the Altaria, we're able to get farm, and once they bring in Dedenne, we instantly bring in LITLEO. And the Dedenne is staying in, and this makes me think that I may have a chance. They are throwing the discharge, and they're still staying in. They must be so weak in the back to LITLEO. So you know what? I am going to double shield LITLEO. We are going to be going for the Flame Charge. Flame Charge is going to be ramping up our attacks, making our Fire Fangs do even more damage. And they shield the Dedenne. These Fire Fangs are doing big damage there, and the opponent gets to a discharge. Unfortunately, we did not sneak through a Fire Fang as they threw, and that ends up being a big issue, as they're able to reach another charge move that will take me out. We bring back in Altaria, and we farm down, and they have Trevenant in the back, so they were so weak to LITLEO in the back after we baited out their Vigoroth, and now it's all up to Altaria to close. Can Trevenant reach two moves? If they do, we are going to be taken out. Shadow Ball will be doing big damage. This is going to be close, but Altaria is able to reach the Sky Attack. Sky Attack will be taking out the Trevenant, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match and picking up a phenomenal lead, Altaria into Tropius. The opponent save switches into Lickitung, and honestly, I have multiple good responses to Tropius and to Lickitung, so I don't really feel a need to switch out right away. I'm going to stay in, tank a Body Slam, and go for the Moonblast. This will be doing big damage or getting a shield. It lands, we switch into the Greedent, and we get the attack drop, so things are looking incredible for us here. We can easily tank a Body Slam, not worried about that whatsoever. And now I'm going to be firing back with a Body Slam of my own. This will not be taking out the Lickitung, but will get it pretty low. They are able to reach another Body Slam. Again, Greedent is an absolute beast, and their attack has been lowered. So we're able to take out the Lickitung, and back in comes the Tropius. Since we have multiple answers, I'm very curious to see what they have in the back. So I'm going to throw the second body slam to burn the switch clock, and then I'm actually going to switch into the LITLEO. Looks like there was a little bit of lag there. A little bit of lag there again. We bring in the LITLEO, and they have Zangoose in the back. Here, I don't want to get baited, so I'm actually going to no shield. They close combat, which unfortunately does one-shot the LITLEO, but on the bright side, their defense is now lowered. So it's going to be a lot easier to take care of the Zangoose now that they have close combated. They do decide to shield up. Here I am expecting them to bait. We do survive a Night Slash, so I'm actually going to let this go. It is the Night Slash. We are able to survive it. We're going for the Body Slam. Body Slam will take out the Zangoose. They bring back in the Tropius. We bring in our Altaria, and the opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Hopping into the next match and picking up a very nice lead, Altaria into a Alolan Marowak, and then the opponent safe switches into Electivire. So some Holiday Cup spice. You love to see it. We are able to catch the Ice Punch onto our Greedent, and now Greedent does what Greedent does best, beginning to spam out these body slams. Unfortunately, Electivire will reach a Wild Charge, and you know what? I'm unwilling to let the Greedent go. We are going to shield up and win Switch Advantage. Switch Advantage will work out pretty well for us here, and we'll have to see if they bring in their third, but they bring in the Alolan Marowak. Alolan Marowak does not have a great matchup here, so I'm honestly very surprised that they decided to bring it in, as we are able to spam out these crunches, and Alolan Marowak does not appreciate crunches, and they're going to have to start shielding. We're even able to sneak through a Bullet Seed as they throw, so things are looking so good for us. Farming up, going for the crunch, and the opponent does a very nice catch onto Wigglytuff, but unfortunately for them, we have LITLEO, and LITLEO absolutely destroys Charmers, and as you can see, the Charmer realizes they're not charming down LITLEO, and they concede the match. Absolutely terrible lead. Altaria into Frostlass. We save switch into our Greedent, and we're met with a Vigoroth. So again, counted on the lead and counted on the swap. Things are not looking great for us. We really have to hope that LITLEO will have a lot of play in the end game. Again, this is not really a matchup where we can typically flip switch, but we are going to try and do as much damage as we can while we're here. And as you can see, the opponent, again, not giving me the opportunity to potentially flip the match. They throw before we're able to reach a move, but we will get a nice farm down on our Altaria. They do reach a Body Slam, which is a little unfortunate, but again, health on my Altaria isn't particularly important at this stage of the game. So we are going to insta-switch into our LITLEO, and we are met with a Mandibuzz, and again, some more stuttering from the game, which is very unfortunate. So Mandibuzz is not what we were hoping to see in the back, but we're going to try and do our best with LITLEO to see if we can clutch this out. LITLEO going for the Flame Charge, and the Flame Charge lands. The opponent no-shielded, so now I'm thinking maybe I have a win con. If I'm able to Fire Fang down, hopefully before they get to another move, but it's looking like they are going to be able to reach a move here. That is so unfortunate that I do have to burn that shield. Things are looking a little rough, and at this point, I'll be honest, I had lost count of Frostlass's energy, but I know that I need to catch. We go for the crunch. They do shield it up. We're farming, we try and catch onto the Altaria, and we're not able to do so. The opponent does not throw their energy, and they are going to be able to farm up enough. So I had lost track of energy on the Frostlass. I knew I had to try and make a catch, and unfortunately we're not quite able to do so, as a very rare sight, as Frostlass will actually be able to take out LITLEO, and unfortunately we're not quite able to get the win in that match. Hopping into the next match and picking up a fantastic lead, Altaria into Vigoroth, and the opponent safe switches into Kofagrigus. We count to 7, switch in the Greedent, and hopefully caught the Shadow Ball. It is the Shadow Ball. That's a huge waste of energy for the opponent, and we have a ton of energy on Altaria for later in the match. So we are in a commanding position in the match. We get the defense drop from the crunch, and everything is going our way in this match at the moment. They go for the Dark Pulse. That is fine by me. I will ever so slightly overfarm because I'm hoping that I will be able to get to 2 Body Slams versus the Vigoroth. Vigoroth comes back in. We are farming up with the Greedent, and this is going to be very close. I need to survive 3 more counters to get off this second Body Slam, and we just fall short. Regardless, we're still in a fantastic position in the match, but that extra body slam almost feels like it would have been the nail in the coffin. Vigoroth has a ton of energy, and they're going to start launching these body slams. First body slam comes through, second body slam. We don't have to shield this, but they will be able to reach a third before we reach a sky attack here. And that one we will have to shield. So they are able to reach here. Unfortunately, this Vigoroth is still a little too healthy. I am not going to be able to farm it down. So I am going to over farm here. These counters are not doing a lot to me, and we're going for the sky attack. Sky attack does take out the Vigoroth. What do they have in back? They have Trevenant, and Trevenant gets absolutely destroyed by LITLEO, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match and picking up a pretty rough lead Altaria into a Alolan Graveler. I'm going to farm up, save switch Greedent, and the opponent counter swaps a Frostlass. Frostlass has a really poor matchup against Greedent, so if this is their best response to a normal type, then I'm hopeful that LITLEO should have a ton of play in the end game. Greedent tanks this Avalanche like a champ and fires back with the Crunch, so if the Frostlass wants to maintain switch advantage, they're going to have to give up shields. They do decide to shield, they're farming up a bunch, and I'm able to reach a body slam. I'm throwing this in the hope that they've lost count and think I have a Crunch, but the opponent is on top of their counts. They recognize I don't have it, and I'm just going to let this go down. I'm going to need all the shields I can get to take out this Alolan Graveler, as it's a definite core breaker for the team. Alolan Graveler comes back in with a lot of energy. I'm going to call the Rock Blast, but they Stone Edge. I try and get to the Moon Blast. I'm not able to get there, but I'm going to throw the Sky Attack and fake like I have it, and we're able to force the shield. That's absolutely huge. And now with a 2-0 shield advantage, it's all up to LITLEO. We shield up the Rock Blast. Farming up, they get to another Rock Blast. We do need to commit the second shield. Now the question is, what is in the back? And it is a Golbat. So Golbat, understandably not a big fan of normal types because it's stuck only going for Poison Fang. We're able to ramp up our Fire Fangs. Our Fire Fangs are now doing extra damage. And from here, we're just going to be able to tank the Poison Fang. Should do only about 20%, but there's a bunch of lag. And unfortunately, the opponent ends up getting a third shield glitch. Fortunately, in this particular game, it didn't impact the end result because the Poison Fang would have only done about 20%, but still, come on, Niantic, please get it together. All right, hopping into the next match, we have Altaria into Ampharos. I am a little worried about Dragon Pulse, so on the 4th Volt Switch, I swap into Greedent to try and catch, but unfortunately, they did not throw. That, of course, makes me worry about a Focus Blast, so I shield up, and of course I get baited. We are able to get off this Body Slam, though, and the Ampharos does decide to shield. They farm up a ton of energy, and now they bring in Charm Alolan Ninetales. So that's something I'll have to be mindful of. The Ampharos has a ton of energy, but you know what? So does my Greedent. Greedent so incredibly spammy, and we are one bullet seed away from another Body Slam, and this Body Slam will be taking them out if they decide not to shield. Greedent putting in so much work, taking out the Alolan Ninetales. So we are able to win switch advantage. Back in comes the Ampharos, and Ampharos will probably be throwing a Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch, unfortunately, just does not take us out, and they're able to get a little bit of extra farm. But at this point, you know what? I am guessing they're probably running Focus Blast. We call it, and it's the back-to-back Thunder Punches. So they are not running Dragon Pulse, they are running Focus Blast, which means Altaria has a pretty good matchup. I am going to overfarm, and in the middle of their Volt Switch, we're going for the Sky Attack. That does enough resisted damage, and they have Trevenant in the back, so this game is over as LITLEO absolutely destroys Trevenant. We bring the LITLEO into Trevenant. Fire Fangs are tearing through Trevenant, and we don't have to shield anything. All moves they throw here are resisted. Seed Bomb, sure. LITLEO farming all the way down, closing strong, and that is a good game. And hopping into the final match, picking up an absolutely terrible lead in Charm Alolan Ninetales. We save switch into our Greedent and we're met with Shadow Victory Bell. So this has me wondering if this is Charm double Razor Leaf. And if it is, the MVP of the team in this match is going to be LITLEO. I'm going to try and get shields with Greedent, which I'm able to do, and I'm going to save 2 shields for LITLEO, as LITLEO should be able to put in a ton of work. We are going to wait our switch clock here. We're going to bring in Altaria, and we're going to farm all the way down. And then, unfortunately, our switch clock is not quite up just yet. We're spamming the LITLEO, and now we're able to switch. And if you notice, the Alolan Ninetales is not switching out, which confirms my theory that this is probably a second Razor Leafer in the back. They go for a Psy Shock. The opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. And that clinches the 5-0, which allows us to climb up to 26-31 ELO. So all in all, I had an absolute blast running this team. This team felt super strong in the current meta. I would say the biggest things to watch out for, rock types on the lead are very tough because Altaria and LITLEO both take super effective damage. And if the opponent is running double counter, you're running double normal, that could be a little rough. But outside of that, this team felt like it handled the Holiday Cup meta exceedingly well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.